Hello, my name is Carl. My amateur radio call sign is 2 Echo Zero Echo Zulu Tango, and in this video I just want to talk about some of the features that I think are important when you are buying a radio for working portable amateur radio. Okay, so there's a number of features that I just want to highlight in this short video that I'm hoping by sharing that might help others to make, when they make a decision about what radio to purchase or what radios to use when they're working outdoors. So one of the first things to consider is the type of bands that you want to work on and the type of modes that you want to work on. Do you want to work purely on HF? Do you want to work on one band, like just 40 meters? Or do you want to work on HF and VHF and UHF? So that's one of the first decisions really, is do you want a all-in-one radio, multi-band, multi-mode radio? So that's one of the key, because if you end up buying a HF only radio and then after a few months you start going, well actually I want to work 2 meters single sideband on top of a hill or whatnot, you're going to end up going, well okay, now I need to go and buy another radio to work on 2 meters. Or if you want to use a HF and then switch to work on repeaters, then you're going to be stuck with 2 radios then rather than one. So just trying to work out what bands and what modes you want to work on is important. The second key point is the size and the weight of the radio compared to the power output. So the weight power ratio is really important, especially if you're going to be the type of operator that carries the radio in a backpack. If you're going to be lifting the weight of the equipment yourself, then it really is important to find the right balance between the weight of the radio and the battery that's needed, and you know, the type of power that you want to be producing. So the more power you want out, the more weight you're gonna need really. So yeah, thinking about if you're going to be working inside a barn or anywhere that's a fixed location, then you've got more choice there really with the size and the weight of the radio. One key feature is the operating an amateur radio in a portable location is far different than operating at home, for example. At home you've got all the luxuries of good lighting, good stable desk to work on, very little around you that can distract the audio sound as well. But it's a real big learning curve when you start to operate a radio from inside a cramped tent or a hammock or under a tarp, or even in a low lit barn or a pod of some type. So you need to consider the way that the radio operates from the front panel. If you've got a radio that's very fiddly and very menu driven, that does pose its own challenges. If you're kind of person that really finds it difficult to operate small front face type radios, you will struggle in not ideal conditions. And that's why I enjoy working with the things like the FT897 that I've got. I quite like older radios. This is a way, just my take on it. I quite like some of the older design radios, but the FT897 gives me more wattage. It's very good for slightly more fixed locations. I even like the IC7200. I've got 2 IC7200s. Fantastic radio. From a visual point of view, it's very easy to get to things like the filter and the RIT. They're very good to tune into an operator. I tend to do most of my I tend to use the radio a lot by listening more than I do by visually looking at a screen. But for things like SWR and such like, you do need to be able to use the screen. So consider how a radio is built for working in less than ideal conditions is really important. Talking about the sound quality of a radio, and this is really important. If you're working in outdoors, for example, if you're working with wind and rain blowing around and it's blowing a hoolie outside the tent. You do need a radio that has got a decent sound coming out of it, and a decent sound isn't necessarily a full range of sound, a full bass sound to it. It can be quite sort of thinner sound that you need to pierce through the background noise. But something that is really important is the placement of the speaker on the radio. As we see with for example, the 817 has a speaker on top, and when you tend to use these sort of radios inside a bag or inside a case of some type, sometimes the speaker can get covered over, and that can really affect the audio. So that's one thing to work out. Is where if you could run an external speaker, that you can do that, or run headphones. But running headphones, if you're working, let's say at night time in the woods, I always feel a bit I don't feel safe using. I like to be able to listen to what's going on around me. My favourite radio, the ICOM 7200, it's got a front facing audio on it. It's got beautiful audio. It's one of the main reasons I bought both of these. And this is great for working in a more fixed location with a front facing audio. Fantastic. Another thing to consider. So another thing to consider is the durability of the radio. If you've got a radio made out of mostly plastic, plastic housing, cheap plastic switches on the front, they will get knocked, they will get scratched, they will be dropped if you're taking them outdoors a lot. So it's always good to keep an eye on the reviews. If you're out there purchasing a new radio, it could be a new radio or a pre-loved radio, which is I tend to favour more of the pre-loved radios. You just need to read up on people's experience of the way that their design of them, because you can buy a fantastic new SDR radio with waterfalls and all sorts on it, but if it's just going to crack the screen within an hour of being out playing portable, then you're gonna struggle with that. You're gonna regret that. So durability is really important as well. So there's just a few points, a few things I wanted to share. I'm hoping that for anybody that is considering buying a radio purely for portable, or even the first radio, I hope that's useful. If you have found that useful, can you please give me a thumbs up? If you've not yet subscribed to the channel, I do a mix of outdoor radio and indoor radio, and a little bit to camera as well. And yes, if you want to chat, please drop some comments in below. Please just tell me about the radios that you get, what you prefer to use, your experience of certain types of radios. It'd be really grand to get your views on that as well. So thanks for watching. Thanks for watching till the end, and I hope you enjoy the video, and hope you enjoy the next ones and the next ones. So on that note, I'll bid you goodbye.